Interesting day. Let's look at some stocks that have been in the news beyond the Nifty 50, and Biocon is definitely one of them. 8% up, thanks to the fact that insulin glargine is now getting launched. They're making inroads in the US market as well. So Abhimanyu, let me ask you, Pharma is clearly the flavor. How do you find Biocon within that universe? And if not Biocon, suggest another stock to us.
So I think so, the pharmaceutical, as all of you know, is doing pretty well. I think so Biocon with its pedigree, in biosimilars, obviously is expected to do pretty well going forward as well, despite the sharp move in the stock that has happened. And with this insulin news coming up also, we are quite sanguine about the prospects of the company. From an overall basis, I think so in addition to this company, something like a Cadila also looks quite interesting to us. We think so they still risk reward is quite favorable in case of Cadila, because we see that next year the growth opportunity could be quite big for Cadila. So these will be the two stocks that right now I see clearly that there could be significant traction over next couple of quarters.
Okay, that's Pharma. By the way, the other important sector of the day has been metals, and you simply can't ignore the kind of moves that we've seen on everything, ferrous, non-ferrous, Tata Steel, JSPL, Hindalco, you name it. I mean, stocks across the board, SAIL, everything has been rising higher. What would your take be? We do hear of slightly better pricing in the market. There are lots of disruptions as well that have kept a couple of base metals elevated. Abhimanyu, any recommendations here?
So I would say that Hindalco looks quite attractive to us. I think so going forward, the way things are, clearly the spreads and the way, the pricings are increasing for the domestic manufacturer. We feel that, aluminum could see a decent amount of recovery, and for that reason, we feel that Hindalco could do pretty well. From the ferrous side, I think so, it is more of the integrated players who could do quite well. So though the employee cost is a bit high, but I think so something like a SAIL, being an integrated player, more not from a very long-term perspective, but maybe from a tactical perspective, that could be an interesting stock to look at from the ferrous side.
Okay, all right, interesting thoughts over there. Well, let's move to some market opinion now. Earlier in the morning, we caught up with Taher Badshah, who is the Chief Investment Officer at Invesco Mutual Fund. Now, Taher says that earnings do have to catch up with the elevated stock prices. Reason why he is slightly cautious on the NBFC sector.
I think now markets, if it has to gain any strength from here on, has to be supported by some visibility around earnings, which today we don't really have a great handle on. We do have some of the factors which we think will translate into earnings. Some of these agri-related plays have done exceedingly well over the last 4-5 months, and I think this is just the extension of the strength of the rural market that we had seen even pre-pandemic. There is a fair bit of expansion of valuations as well, which has happened out there. I think if one is probably looking at the next phase of the opening up of the economy, then I think the urban segment of the market is the next step as more of the tier 1 centers actually start coming back into business. We have bitten into some of the NBFCs and have increased our allocation to that over the last couple of months compared to what we were, let's say, in the period of April, May, June. So there is we are approaching cautiously. We are trading a little cautiously out here, but clearly, yes. Like as I said, the whole financial sector is the only one which is actually still well short of what it was pre-pandemic.
Okay. By the way, just look at some of the stocks. In terms of delivery volumes, Bharti Airtel's delivery volume is only 24%. So a lot of positions have been paired today. 1.6 crore shares marked for deliveries. So around 800 crores thereabout on Bharti Airtel. That's of course the 3 p.m. data that we have at this point in time. And looking at some more names, Biocon of course has had a big move. In fact, this morning we were talking to Biocon's chairman Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw. We should get perhaps a couple of bites running from that as well. A couple of other stocks looking interesting, JSW Steel and JSPL also looking big. Ashwani, these metal stocks are moving. Of course, that's the dollar theme. But which one looks best to you among, say, JSW, JSPL, Tata Steel?
Well, JSW Steel, even if you look at the chart, looks the strongest. And the best thing is that all of these stocks have corrected fairly well. So Hindalco and JSW Steel probably cut it for me.
Okay, Hindalco and JSW Steel are the two stocks that Ashwini is backing. In fact, if we have those Biocon bites ready, because that's a big move, in fact, now on the stock, and for good reason. This is a big drug, insulin glargine that Biocon and Mylan are launching in the US. In fact, let's hear out what Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw had to say.
This is a very important launch for Biocon and Mylan because this heralds our entry into the insulin segment. And as you know, this is a very attractive and important segment given the kind of challenges that the US is facing in terms of insulin cost and pricing. As far as the market opportunity is concerned, the glargine or the Lantus business is worth almost $6 billion as of today. And the biosimilar glargine market is estimated at $2.2 billion. The next, biosimilar that we expect approval for in this fiscal is biosimilar bevacizumab. That is certainly something that we are positioning, and followed by aspart, insulin aspart, and of course our own recombinant human insulin. We are very confident that we will get interchangeability.
All right, that was Kiran Mazumdar